All right.
All right, ready?
Ready?
Okay. Hello and welcome to this interview with Alex Bigatti, one of our artists presently on display at the Alpha Gallery's current exhibition, Bonds Beyond Time. My name is Sarah Lovett, and together we will be going over some of Alex's artistic process, as well as the pieces that were graciously contributed to both our physical and online presentations. We're going to start off pretty simple. Alex, how are you today?
I'm very good. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for to Alpha Arts for this opportunity. I'm very happy to be here.
So, this exhibition showcases your series, In My Garden, The Flowers of Quarantine. Considering the overt impact of the past year and a half circumstances has had on your work, can you share more insight about how the pandemic shaped your creative process and has it deviated from your pre-pandemic one?
Close your eyes and go back to March 2020. We were in Argentina, actually. I was with my family visiting, and we were originally for 2 weeks. And after 1 week, the news started to change drastically, and Argentina was going to close the borders. So we had to change our tickets and come back earlier. That's when all started. We got here, we got home, and the lockdown started. So then you start feeling all this anxiety, all this uncertainty. And we were lucky because my husband and I both work from home. I have my studio attached to my house, and my husband was working from home. So that part of the whole variables was not changing. I started to feel so lucky that I have a backyard and I was able to go outside. And then I started to kind of focus on my surroundings, my immediate environment. And then I started to look at my flowers in a different way. And it's sort of like an introspective kind of thing and experience on my flowers in my backyard, and how, despite of all this mess that was going on in the world, nature will follow its course. The flowers keep flowering, all that. So that's that state of mind of uncertainty, scary. It was scary, right? Mm-hmm. It's how my mind was at that time. So I found a phrase, well, I have a phrase always that I remember from Henry Matisse, that it says, the essential thing is to work in a state of mind that approaches prayer. And I think that was exactly my state of mind at that moment. So I would say the creative process didn't change much, but the meaning the meaning is what it changed.
Is there anything in particular that you want the viewers to feel or take away when they're looking at this series?
Yeah, let me again close your eyes and go back to that time we were in lockdown.
Yeah.
Remember that the sky was bluer, but you can hear the birds much more. There was not this sound of cars, airplanes. It was quiet. It was beautifully quiet. So at that time also there was a lot of reflections of how humanity was treating, animals and nature, and because of that, because everybody started to appreciate it more. So that's probably what I would like the people to take to appreciate nature more, to focus on the beauty of simple flowers, or that kind of thing. I wanted to share an experience, right, of that moment, of that situation. And again, I have another phrase that I want to share, which is from David Hockney, which I admire his philosophy of life, and I share his love for nature. And he says that what an artist is trying to do for people is bring them closer to something. Because of course, art is about sharing. You wouldn't be an artist unless you wanted to share an experience or a thought. And that's what I wanted to share. I wanted to share an experience which, that was at that time how I felt and how I wanted to get the people closer to flowers or to nature.
Was there a specific process that you went through when you chose the flowers? Because some of them you had set inside in vases, like the Florencia and the cherry blossom, but the majority of them you had outside in your garden, like you were talking about.
Yes. Well, this was the thing. When I came home, we were in lockdown and all that situation.
Mm-hmm.
The first one that I know that was flowering was the forsythias, but I didn't come up with the idea of do the series right away. So it was kind of trying to grasp on my flowers somehow. So I just went there outside, cut some branches, set it up in my studio, and I did the painting. And then I did the same thing with the crab apples and the cherry blossoms. So they were, and also by the way, at that time it was March or early April. It was kind of cold to be outside, painting outside. But anyways, I didn't think yet to do that. And then when I was doing this, and I realized and I start to focus in. So which one comes next? Oh, that one. So I'm gonna, wait for this one to bloom and go and paint it. So, and then the weather was getting better. So I took my easel and started to do them outside. So the first ones are on the bases because I was just literally cutting the branches, setting them in the studio and painting them. And I realized that I was getting really close to looking at them in a more curious way, in a different way that I've been looking at my flowers all these years. So that's how I started the series.
So the vase ones are the earlier ones.
Exactly. Yes.
So it's like the progression of the series.
Yes, exactly. It progressed as the weather also progressed, and as I was realizing what I was doing there in the beginning was not, oh, I'm going to do a series of my flowers. It didn't work like that. It was like a progression of events that lead me to do it.
I was wondering if you had a particular movement that influenced you in your works, because my personal favorite movement is Impressionism, and it seemed like that was sort of peeking through in some of your works, especially like the daylilies and the rhododendrons. It's just the way you applied your paint and the techniques and stuff like that, or if there was another movement.
Well, I have to say I love Impressionism. I find good things in every movement. I love many different things. I don't focus on one thing in particular. I think every movement responds to a political or a historical event. So I don't like definition. I wouldn't say I'm impressionistic. And as a matter of fact, some of the paintings have very dark values that probably impressionists wouldn't use. So it's more expressionist than in other ways. So and also I have another phrase that I like a lot, but I'm not sure who did it, but I think it was Matisse, but I'm not sure yet. But that it says, get as many influence as possible in order to escape to any influence in particular. And that's probably, especially nowadays that you get bombarded with social media and how people do a lot of different things. It's like overwhelming. I just do my thing. Yes, I love history and I like to see how every artist got to their process and how they get to their famous paintings, and they went to different movements most likely, or most of them. But I like to express. For example, in the one that we were, I think one of the paintings that is on the group that is Rain on the 202, or the one that it's called Morning Walk. The objective in that one was to be more abstract in a way. So no more impressionistic. I mean, if that comes along, good, but I don't define movements in the painting. I just get influenced by many different things. Every artist has a process of, when you start painting and how you develop your style or your language. And I felt that one was the first time that I move a little bit, step away from my process. And it was like an interesting thing because I usually paint from either my own references, or most of the time, or either plein air, or I set up my setups. So I paint live. But this was a picture, and as soon as I saw a picture, I envisioned it. I saw the painting, which it doesn't happen very often. So I got a connection with that because I already saw the painting before I even started, and it's very different than the reference. So that to be able to move away from a reference that much, I think it was my first time, and I treasure that painting a lot because of that. It was a different a step, I think, in my process.
Thank you so much, Alex. I do not have any more questions. However, if there's anything you'd like to add that you might have thought of, anything you're working on, any shows you're going to be in soon, feel free to share.
Yes, I'm in other two shows. One is in the Center for Contemporary Art. It's the members show. And I'm also on the Somerset County Heritage and Cultural Gallery in Somerset County, which I have a different series of paintings there. And then I have several projects that I'm sketching and trying to get to work on those. I have distractions on summer. We've been traveling and things like that, but I'm planning to. There's several paintings that I'm planning that I wanted to get back. I'm going to get to them pretty soon. So you'll see it.
Exciting. Thank you so much again for being with us today and sharing the insight into your works.
Thank you for having me again. Thank you to the gallery, and I hope people sees the show because it's a great show. There's a lot of artists, very good artists as well. It's very nice show. So I hope that people check those out. Thank you, Sarah.